What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. I am your host who loves you the most, Ozeal. And today's episode is a celebration because guess what? It's your birthday. It's your birthday. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. That's right, y'all. It's my birthday. I wish I had the little sound effects. Today we're celebrating. Let me cover up the label. We're celebrating over here. All right. Today is officially my birthday. How crazy is that? When a new episode drops, it's on my birthday today, Wednesday. Here we go. I'm turning 21 years old today. Can't you tell? Can't you tell? Just kidding. I'm just a tad bit older. And I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I'm excited to just share this episode with you. Birthdays are funny to me. I don't know about you. Leave me in the comment section down below. Like, how are you one of those that like celebrates like your birthday, like for the whole week? I have friends that celebrate their birthdays for the whole month. I mean, they go all out. Well, it's my birthday month. And it's like, what are you doing? It's like every week they're doing something. I'm like, what? But hey, this is the way they celebrate themselves and respect, and I love it. Funny birthdays are funny for me because as a kid, I used to love celebrating my birthdays. I did the whole, just cake and gifts and all my friends. Even in my 20s, I was just all about, I did have some really memorable birthday celebrations with friends and family, which I do. I always do the family thing every year, of course. But after a while, like at some point, I hit this phase where, and you probably may or may not be like this, but it was like, it's just another day, whatever. Until one day I actually had a conversation with someone who said that she takes her birthday off like to herself. Like she takes it off from work. She spends that day doing all the things she enjoys. I mean, she goes to her favorite breakfast spot. She eats a lot, and she has her favorite meal, and she catches a movie and maybe get her nails done. Every year it's all about that particular day. She celebrates her day, and I was like, you know what? Sounds pretty cool. That sounds exactly what I'm gonna do on my birthday. So, if you're watching this, after I do this, I'm going to just enjoy my birthday and do all the things. And this is part of enjoying my birthday. This is like recording a podcast episode, sharing it with you, my people. This is what it's all about. So yeah, I'm sipping on tea, but maybe later have maybe a glass of this later on to celebrate me. So cheers to my birthday and anybody else who's celebrating a birthday today. I in the spirit of sharing birthday love, I was thinking about what this particular podcast episode may look like. And I have a ton of ideas. I have a bank of like content ideas of things I want to talk about in the podcast. And I was like, let's make this episode a little bit more reflective. Let's share some lessons here. So this episode, I'm going to share with you 8 creator lessons I wish I knew earlier. Okay. And these are lessons. I was just journaling the other day and I was just like, man, let me just put all this together. And it's kind of like my birthday mixtape of lessons. There you go. I had a lot. I had more than 8, but I was like, all right, let me go ahead and just put this out there. If it comes to, I need to make a part 2, part 3, I will make that happen. But we're going to start with 8 lessons. All right. On my birthday. Okay, here we go. Lesson number 1, one lesson that I learned as a creator that I wish I knew earlier. Start before you feel ready. I said this before, being ready is a lie. There's no such thing as perfection or the perfect moment. The moment is when you decide to take action. When I first started this podcast, my first podcast actually, I had no clue what I was doing. No clue. And no fancy mic or no plan. I just saw what I saw and I was like, that looks cool. I think I can do it. I'm passionate about this topic and I want to replicate, because at that time I was learning a lot about entrepreneurship. This was back like in 2009, 2010. Because I was really, really digging into entrepreneurship and learning business. And I was like, this sounds really cool. I feel like I can do this in my own tone, my own style. So that's what I did. And if I waited until I felt ready, I'd probably still be waiting right now. Fast forward, and I've launched, over 500 episodes and counting. And I've launched 2 podcasts. And I have interviewed some of the most amazing minds, some of the most amazing creatives, entrepreneurs, creators, and I've launched, over 200 to 300 episodes for other people as well. So I do this as a consultant, and looking back is if clarity comes from taking action, not overthinking. And as somebody who still occasionally battles overthinking and second guesses a bit, I've gotten better. But there are times where I'm like, man, I wish I would have just made the jump, made the leap. I'm one of those now that like I'm a calculated risk taker, but I am an action taker. I consider myself a pretty disciplined person whenever I put my mind to it. And these are the things that I really help a lot of my clients is, start, definitely get the consulting, get the good coaching, because I do believe that coaching matters. And it can definitely help you with accountability, especially if you're an overthinker. If you're an overthinker and you're trying to do all the things and it takes you a minute for you procrastinate. I feel like a lot of creatives struggle with that. I believe that having a coach really can help you mitigate that and help you just be accountable and be responsible for taking action. So that is lesson number one. Start before you feel ready. That is 1000% truth. The second lesson that I'm here to share with you is be the community you wish existed. What do I mean by that? Back in 2018, in my city of Houston, Texas, shout out to my Pod Houston folks, everybody out in Houston. I remember that I was looking for a place where I can connect with other local creators or podcasters, and there wasn't any. I mean, there was a solid blogging community, and there was several blogging communities, but nobody was really focused on local like podcasters. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and put this together, and I did. As a matter of fact, before it was Pod Houston, I called it Beginner Podcast, and it was just going to be like a workshop, which I ended up doing. It was about 20 people that showed up, and I remember doing kind of like a talk about how to start a podcast, and then people came up to me afterwards. It was like, yo, I really love this. Can we do this again? And I was like, maybe. And then I was like, yeah, sounds amazing. I've always been a community guy. I've probably 15, 20 years plus of community building in the music industry and in my past. And I was like, this sounds and feels right. And I decided to create a community that didn't exist. So be the community you wish existed. If it doesn't exist in your local area, in your digital ecosystem, create the community. There's a lot of great community focused platforms out there online. Maybe I'll do a video or episode on that in the future, but make it happen, especially for a lot of people that have are living in small towns. They don't have access to community. Create your own. All right, so that's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, número tres, is this is a big one. Don't chase the fame algorithms. Just chase the flow, chase the vibe. There was a time that I wanted to be known so bad, and I'm at a place right now in this season where I just want to be in rhythm. Like I don't feel like chasing this whole desired version of myself. I have that vision, but I realize that if I'm just in rhythm, if I'm just in flow, creating the systems, the routines, the habits, the structure, doing the things that don't limit my creativity, they protect it. I learned that if I get all that dialed in, everything else is in alignment. Everything runs smoothly. The business, the content, my personal life, all of it starts piecing each other together effortlessly. So that is my lesson number 3 is don't chase fame. Don't chase of this big picture that you have for yourself. In order for you to become the person, you have to be able to establish the proper habits, routines, and the mindset, the small things that will get you to that bigger picture version of yourself. So be in flow, be in rhythm. That is definitely a lesson that I've learned as being a creator. Lesson number 4 is that you can't scale chaos. Let me repeat that. You're like, what? Yeah, you can't scale chaos. This one here hit me later in life. You can't grow what's not organized. And, one of the things that I've realized is that I've been in this state of doing a lot of things all at once. And I call it like the beautiful chaos, organized chaos. And I'm doing all the things. But if I didn't feel like I was doing, I felt like it was just all over the place, and I was like, doing creative stuff, but it wasn't dialed in, and I think it wasn't until I really started thinking about establishing an infrastructure that would help and support my creativity. I do believe that without having structure, your creativity can't thrive. And it goes back to what I was saying about lesson 3, right? There's a flow state, but even that flow state has rhythm. In that rhythm, there's organization. And I use the analogy of like music. There are different notes. Nothing's original. These standard notes. And then when you hear like a jazz improvise, and you think that it may sound like it's all over the place, but everything's in rhythm. Everything is dialed in. Everything is within the pocket, and it's like a beautiful like chaos, but there's structure behind it. Imagine if a jazz musician was really all over the place and didn't understand the foundational backbeat to really understand where they can go. That's why I love jazz music, where you can improvise and be all over the place, but it's still like in the pocket. Despite even hearing all the notes going everywhere, it's still in rhythm. So that is one of the things that I've learned the hard way, is that you just can't scale chaos. Like if you really want to scale your business, your influence, you got to get in a place where you're in flow and rhythm, but you also got to get in a place where you're establishing really good, healthy, routines, habits, structure that will allow you to really amplify your creativity. Okay, so that is definitely lesson number 4. That one really, really stuck with me. Lesson number 5 is the best ROI, return on investment, is relationships, period. Every opportunity that I've had, from brand deals to consulting gigs, to venue relationships, booking all the gigs for Pod Houston, came from people that trusted my vision, and where I was able to build relationships from. This is not about, algorithms or ads or anything like that. It's just people, just having good people on your side, reaching out to them, building the relationship before you think you may need it is probably the biggest thing that I've learned. That you got to give, you got to build, you got to support. And then in due time, when it's time for you to be able to put together an event or be able to do something that's going to help you, you can reach out, and they're going to be a lot more inclined to help you out because you've already served them and helped them out. So that's something that I really learned, is just really understanding how to nurture your network. And the biggest investment, smartest investment you'll ever make is investing in people. So that's lesson number 5. Lesson number 6, my friend, is consistency does beat intensity. Consistency beats intensity. Let me break it down. You don't need to sprint. I was getting into this habit as a creator, and I was struggling with this recently, where I would just do these sprints. Like you would see me on social media, and then I'm out. See me, and I would just do these sprints, and it was intense. Like it was just like really forced. I was actually doing this even with my fitness. And what I've discovered is that it's not about sprinting. I get that there may be seasons where you want to kind of go all in, and I think there's seasons where you want to take it to the next level, but sprinting is bad in the fact that it's in and then you're out. You're there for intensity and then you're out. I just believe that where I've seen myself move the needle and when I've been really successful is when I just showed up. I just showed up. It was small. It was consistent moves that compounded over time, stacked up, and that became something that really developed into something special. When I look back at my coaching business and my podcast, it was just about being consistent, being intentional, but also just doing like the small tweaks, making those smart strategic moves that really scaled my creator brand. So every podcast, every post, every message, they all compound, and it really is about consistency. And it goes back to lesson number 1 about nothing's perfect. I think way too many times I've kind of stumbled upon, it's not stumbled upon. I've felt this way before. I've been succumbed to this idea of like, oh man, this creator's doing this with their podcast, or this creator's doing this with their coaching business. And I'm like, man, I can't, better design. They do this better. And I'm like, I can't get too caught up in all that. The only thing that you can control is what can I do that will outlast my competition? And newsflash, if you want to outlast your competition, aside from creating a remarkable quality product, a brand, it's consistency. It's outlasting the competition through just showing up, even when it's not pretty. So that is something that I've learned as a creator. And when I've fallen off the wagon and stopped creating content, I realized that I always revert back to that. I'm like, when was the moment when I was like, yo, this is when things popped off and I was getting all these opportunities? What was happening? And I was like, I was consistent. I was consistently showing up on social media. I was consistently posting up on live streams and consistently sharing my thoughts and ideas and perspectives and what I was working on. And I saw that. Like, I really saw that move the needle. And I'm seeing it now even with my fitness journey. Like, I've just, by the way, I've been in the gym, lost close to 10 pounds, actually about 10 pounds already. And, I've been consistent, but I'm just being like, just doing all the right things on the back end, small things, right? Tracking my macros, getting my steps in, drinking a lot of water, vitamins, getting, sleep, small things. That has really been the thing that's been moving the needle, but it's just those small things done consistently, compounding, stacking over time. That's how you're going to see results. So you can apply this to any aspect of your life, any aspect. It's all about showing up and just getting better 1% each time. That's it. It beats intensity. Trust me, you don't have to go intense. I'm going to go ham. Got to hustle. Let's go. No sleep. Team, no sleep. Let me go all in. I got this. Nah, man. It's not about that. It's not about that. It's about, once again, being in rhythm, being in flow, being consistent. Tying all this in, baby. Tying it all in. Number 7. Oh my God, this is so good. I have so many. I was looking at my chart here. And I was like, I have so many I want to go through. I'm going to make another part to this. Number 7, I'm going to get a little spiritual with you. It's all in God's timing, okay? God's timing, divine timing. This one right here, and I'm going to be honest with you, I really haven't talked about my faith on the podcast or much out in public, well, online space. But my faith in God has gotten deeper, the past couple of years. I've learned that through faith and patience, they've become like the power tools for me as a content creator. And I believe that they could be a really game changer for all creators, because, when things don't happen fast enough, right? Whenever we feel like we're doing all the right things and nothing is popping off, it's easy to succumb to the disappointment and be like, all right, well, this is just not working out. It's not really for me. I'm not that talented. The content sucks. Not going to work. But one of the things that's really helped me in my faith journey is that I pray every morning, and just speaking to God, the ultimate creator, has really helped me stay grounded, spiritually rooted in my purpose and who I'm serving. And it's made me appreciate and embrace gratitude on a whole different level. And sometimes, like, things don't make sense to me. And it's when I speak to God and I come to God and through prayer, that very, very quickly, because I'm paying attention, God puts me in the right path, puts the right people, the right opportunity. God has never abandoned me. And I will say that God will never abandon you. And this is not about religion. This is about being aligned with the higher source and whatever you call it. But I know that there are times where you have to lean into your faith even more. And I know as creators, when we deal with so much, and again, we're feeling like we're not getting where we want to be, it's faith that could really help you push through those hard times. And I believe that God gave us all the tools we need to succeed. Sometimes you're just being prepared for what's next in God's timing. And I truly believe that. Yes, I'm kind of a late bloomer. I thought I got into music when I was like, my creative pursuits didn't really start. I was dancing back then, but it didn't really start until like 22, 23. I was kind of like a late bloomer. And then everything has been a little slow for me. Like, I felt like I'm always kind of like behind, and I'm like circle success, and then I bring it back, success. And I've never felt like it's been, going up. And it's been frustrating for me, because I was like, well, maybe I'm not equipped to be a successful creator, entrepreneur. But I don't believe that. And I believe that things have happened, and God has shown me enough for me to know that I got this. It's me being stubborn and me being impatient and me just not staying focused on the right things that have really got me back to, to square one. And also, I even embrace that. That's part of my journey. And I think that's one thing that I want to share more of on the podcast, because I know part of the podcast is obviously helping, business-minded, podcasters, creators like you know, build businesses and brands online. But part of it is just, being patient, being patient with the process and really embracing the progress. It's part of it. It's all about God's divine timing. It is. It is. And that's one thing that I've learned, that it's okay to embrace your faith, and it's okay to not be ashamed of it, make no apologies, and say, this is who I am, and proclaiming that openly, and yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And that's definitely a lesson that I've learned in all my years of being a creator. All right. Last but not least, numero ocho. Lesson number 8. Take a little swig of tea. Create from gratitude, not pressure. Let me repeat that. Create from gratitude, not pressure. When I shifted my mindset from like, I need to do this, I need to publish this, I need to post this, to, I have the opportunity. I get to share this from my experience. I get to share this because I have the tools I need to be able to do this. My work became lighter. Like, there was really not that much added pressure for me to do that. It just felt so much better. And I do believe that in addition to faith, gratitude fuels creativity, and pressure kills it. Let me repeat that. So gratitude fuels creativity, pressure kills it. When you feel pressured to post, to be perfect, to show up in a certain way to your audience, to chase fame, the algorithm, it's going to be killed by that pressure. That pressure all day wins 10 times out of 10. And when you're just grateful that you have, the capability, the opportunity to show up and just share value and be useful to your community, it changes things. Like, I'm not like so much of like, I need to go ahead and put together this content strategy to show up in this way, or to, hack this and hack that. No, it's just like, again, be in rhythm, be in flow, be consistent, show up. See, I'm tying all this in, have faith, and then just be grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I am able on my birthday to be able to record this and share this with you today. I'm grateful for that. Like, I get to do this. I get to do this. And you should feel the same way whenever you create content. You get to do whatever you want. You got the tools and the laptop and all the things to publish on your newsletter and to put out the YouTube video. You get to do that. Like, that's gratitude. That's being grateful for what you got. Don't put pressure on yourself. Not worth it. Not worth it. Okay? So, yeah, those are my 8 lessons. 21 again, baby. I'm 21 and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling blessed. Nah, seriously, all jokes aside, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you being a part of this creator journey. If you listen to this podcast every week, every Wednesday, thank you so much. We get listeners from all over the world, from Africa to Asia to the UK, the USA, everywhere. We get people from South America. It's just amazing to be able to see where these people are tuning in from. So if that's you, thank you, my friend. Thank you. I wish I could say thank you in your language, but thank you. Gracias. Every download, every DM, every connection, every time you press play, it means something to me. So thank you so much. Especially if you've been rocking with me since day one. Thank you. If you're new to this podcast, welcome to the Creator Factor family. Definitely have a lot more in store. I got more coaching, more community building, more creative flow. Thank you. It's got more coming up. Do me a favor. On your next birthday, take a day for yourself. Take a day for yourself. Celebrate you. All right. Whenever your birthday is, celebrate you. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comment section. What do you do for your birthday? Do you do anything special? Drop it in the comments. Thanks again for being part of my story, my journey. I'm Ozeal. I'll catch you next week on Creator Factor for an episode about gratitude. Yeah, once again, thank you so much. Until next time, peace and one love.